The Rules of Oleron, circa 1266. Article 1. When several joint owners make a man master of a ship or vessel, and the ship or vessel departing from her own port, arrives at Bordeaux, Rouen, or any other such place, and is there freighted to sail for Scotland, or some other foreign country, the master in such case may not sell or dispose of that ship or vessel, without a special procuration from the owners, but in case he wants money for the victualling, or other necessary provisions of the said vessel, he may for that end, with the advice of his mariners, pawn or pledge part of the tackle or furniture of a ship. Article 2. If a ship or other vessel be in a port, waiting for weather, and a wind to depart, the master ought when that comes, before his departure to consult his company, and say to them, Gentlemen, what think you of this wind? If any of them see that it is not settled, and advise him to stay until it is, and others, on the contrary, would have him make use of it as fair, he ought to follow the advice of the major part. If he does otherwise, and the vessel happens to miscarry, he shall be obliged to make good the same, according to the value upon a just appraisement. Article 3. If any vessel, through misfortune, happens to be cast away, in whatsoever place it be, the mariners shall be obliged to use their best endeavors for saving as much of the ship and lading as possibly they can, and if they preserve part thereof, the master shall allow them a reasonable consideration to carry them home to their own country. And in case they save enough to enable the master to do this, he may lawfully pledge to some honest persons such part thereof as may be sufficient for that occasion. But if they have not endeavored to save as aforesaid, then the master shall not be bound to provide for them in anything, but ought to keep them in safe custody, until he knows the pleasure of the owners, in which he may act as becomes a prudent master, for if he does otherwise, he shall be obliged to make satisfaction. Article 4. If a vessel departing with her lading from Bordeaux, or any other place, happens in the course of her voyage, to be rendered unfit to proceed therein, and the mariners save as much of the lading as possibly they can, if the merchants require their goods of the master, he may deliver them if he pleases, they paying the freight in proportion to the part of the voyage that is performed, and the costs of the salvage. But if the master can readily repair his vessel, he may do it, or if he pleases, he may freight another ship to perform his voyage. And if he has promised the people who helped him to save the ship the third, or the half part of the goods saved for the danger they ran, the judicatures of the country should consider the pains and trouble they have been at, and reward them accordingly, without any regard to the promises made them by the parties concerned in the time of their distress. Continue the series of the Rules of Oleron and discover more about maritime law.